Welcome back to UnProvoked, the podcast, where we talk about all things healing and all things sent to provoke you and how you navigate through them. Look, you did it so much better than me. Wow. Why?
This is our 10th episode.
Oh, wow. Damn, Brit.
To 10.
Hey, yes.
Ooh, child. And we got Brit to 10. That is lit.
We've been talking about, okay, so we have a guest. This is one, you might as well just keep that in your hand. You
I might as well get the bottle with a straw.
Period. We have a guest. This one is very special. We talk about it all the time. You probably heard me mention her name.
When Brit said to me.
Yeah.
Brit told me.
When Brit told me, because Brit ripped, in between Brit and Shanice, I don't know who I get ripped apart by most.
Brit. That's hilarious.
But this is Brittany. She's behind this too.
Hi.
Don't be shy.
Welcome, bro. We are so excited to have you. We've been talking about you before it was a thing.
Oh, right.
We were supposed to be a trio. But my girl is busy, okay? She keeps Kim's hair slayed. Okay, if you ever wanted to know, that's who's behind Kim's hair.
We want to also dedicate like certain episodes to people that are like in business, like women in business, but you had to have like, we're like, nah. Brit is deeper than just a woman in business. We
couldn't merge you.
We couldn't merge. We'll be here for 10 episodes.
Right.
She also does.
Like, this is part 8. You know? Oh, guys, thank you.
So
what's up, Brit?
Yeah.
Well, since we did talk about your business, you want to tell us how it is?
I'm big on branding yourself, so we could drop it in the description.
Yeah, okay? We are. So she owns Dream Salon in Paramus.
Yes. The Dream House is my baby, and we are approaching almost 6 months.
That's crazy.
Of just being like independent and working as women and just, I don't know, being out there. But I've been doing hair for about 8 years.
I was going to say, so how do you feel like it is now that, you know, you've been doing hair, you've been doing what you love for so long, but now you're doing something you love for yourself. So it's like the good and the bad all lays on you.
You know, yeah. And like I had to step back and I was like, I am literally living my dream. Not like my dream life per se, but like my dream was to like have a salon and a salon dedicated to just like all types of women. And like, and I stood there and I looked at our clientele and I was like, I'm literally like standing in my dream. And that fucked me up for a minute.
Did you get emotional?
I was like, wow. And I don't get emotional about my business. But it was just like, it was a wow moment for me.
Wow. Full circle.
Girl, it was something.
That's what's up.
But.
It's always a but.
Because that's just life. Like, as much as we can sit in our blessings, we have to accept that shit also comes with a lot of real feelings that you have to deal with.
Girl.
Like,
when I got out the salon today, I called Kim. I said, listen, it's a lot happening. Like, today was a day. And it's like, you know, when you branch out, when you start something or whatever like that, there's this misconception that, like, it's all, like, roses and daisies.
It's a lot of hard work that go behind that.
It's like you're everything. You are marketing. If you are a service provider, you are the hands. And then when you're doing that, you have to be a therapist. You have to be this. You have to be customer service. Like, I'm literally coloring hair, trying to take appointments and manage a schedule and things like that. And it's one of those things where it's like, you can't complain. Like, this is what you signed up for. So much is given, much is required. So I want to get to the next level where I don't have to do that. I got to put the work in now.
Right.
So.
And I feel like me and you have this conversation so many times. I feel like people try to skip the process of having to work for it. Mm-hmm. Like, you just
what
look
they see on the internet,
right?
Though.
Like, even like with me, right? Like, that picture that I took next to the truck, like, went stupid. And meanwhile, like, y'all know, because y'all been with me literally from the nitty gritty, I haven't had clients in months. Like, I've been licensed since March. It's November, and my name is finally getting out there. And now, like, you know, my phone be going off all day. And I'm like, you know, people taking it like, oh, you know, well, she's pretty, so things are, no, like, I was literally kicking doors in to make sure you knew me as an insurance agent.
Right.
Like, I was hitting up every dealership I can. I was hitting up everyone, and like just seeing little things like, oh, you need help with social media? Like, I was putting myself everywhere. So it's like, I'm putting the work in, so you need me and we can all benefit. But it's like, this shit's not easy. So many times I was like, I just want to give up. What am I doing? What am I doing?
Girl,
I've given up. Flat out, I've given up. I took a backseat, took 6 months off, took a year off. Like, if it just was not suiting me at the time, I took that. I think you and I had a conversation, and it was just like, well, are you like scared to go back because of what people's gonna say? Like, oh, you're coming back. I don't give a. I will start over as many times as I need to until I feel comfortable. I don't care. I will restart that business over and over and over until it suits me and it's running according to my schedule and how I feel. So I have no problem starting over.
Girl, starting over. If you know how many businesses I had,
That's what I'm saying.
In my lifetime.
Somebody called me today for some hair, and I'm like, girl, like the time that she needs, I'm like, I'm not going to get you the quality that you need in the time that you need it in. Yeah. So I'm not going to just throw it out there and you be like, oh my God, this is shedding. Oh my God, this it's too thin.
Because now my name is on the line.
Yeah, now my name is on the line.
My name is on the
line. So
line.
the best thing I could do, and I never have a problem since I've been selling hair, telling people, like referring people to other people. Like that's why me and Leslie have such a great relationship. I will always throw Leslie a client. Always, and she does it for me, vice versa.
Right.
I have no problem with that. If I don't have it on hand, let me send you to somebody that I trust.
Right.
So,
I feel like that's another part of business that, like, you know, even I would say with you, not owning your own business, it's like you can't have a bad day because it's like that's your name. Like how she can't have a bad product. That's her name. Like I can't have bad service because that's my name. So it's like, and it's just so much there. Lately, I told both of y'all, like, I've been waking up with, like, panic attacks, feeling like I'm forgetting to do something. Like, I want to be so successful, and, like, things are so big. I think I was telling Shanice this. I openly talk about that. I go to therapy. So the other day, I was just, like, venting to my therapist. Like, there's just so much going on. I'm like, I just feel like, and in insurance, it's a lot of waiting games. So I could feel like I'm doing the best job ever, and now I'm waiting for a response. So now I'm in my head like, damn, what could I have done? Like, you know, did I do everything I'm supposed to be doing? There's a lot of thinking in it, right? And I'm expressing this to her like, you know, I'm just waking up with panic attacks, feeling like I'm not doing enough. And she was like, you need to go outside and you need to, like, ground yourself. She was like, I know a lot of people, like, have issues with meditating. She's like, but you literally need to ground yourself because you're too much in your head. So she's like, you need then she's explaining to me how I need to ground myself. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't know if I can do it.
It's the work for me.
I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't know if I could do that. And she was like, did you see how fast your ego took over and told you that you can't do something?
So easy to just say no.
She was like, did you notice that? And I'm like, no, I didn't notice. She was like, your ego is trauma triggering, telling that you can't do something just because that one thing is going to make you better. She's like, so many people automatically just write things off as no. And no, I can't do it. She's like, because that's your trauma response. Like, your trauma is like, that's too hard. Mm-hmm. We're going to stay where we're comfortable, and we're not going to do it. We're going to stay in our head.
A lot of people do that. It's so much easier to stay in the box. I was telling, I like screaming on somebody yesterday, like, you are so comfortable in this box that you in that your growth is scaring you, and you're now like
self-sabotaging.
You're going like you're making yourself comfortable in this box. Yeah. You don't want to move. Like, I mean, it was me at one point too, but I'm like, that's why the last two episodes I said that
about imposter syndrome.
What?
That's what that
working right through it. And I had to be, before I could be open, I had to accept that's what I was going through myself. And I'm very big on having conversations with myself. We talk, okay? We in line. Right. And I was telling, another friend, I was like, well, I'm dealing with imposter syndrome. And she's like, okay, like, what does that look like? And I'm like, yes, I'm here and I am doing it in reality, but from somebody that used to be afraid to branch out, knowing my talents, knowing my skills, knowing how much money I've made people, over the years and like being afraid to do it for myself, when I was put in that position, I was still like, this don't feel right.
I was about to say that.
Like,
it's unknown.
Like, I rarely ever say like I'm a boss. Like, I really actually hate
but you
the
are.
word. And thank you. I appreciate it. But it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm still just like, when I started Dream, literally like, I was working the next day. Like, I left one thing and I was working the next day. So I didn't even relish or like sit down and be like, wow, like I'm starting a business. And not just a business where I'm like, you know, behind a computer. Like, no, like people are coming to see me and see us and they believe in us. So it's one of those things where it's like, I didn't take that in.
You're providing a service.
Yeah. It's just, right. And it's just like, just get to it. Like, you got to get to it. And then once I started to see like all the support of like my clients, referrals, new clients,
I'm so overwhelming.
I was like, oh, y'all really fuck with me. Like, y'all fuck with us for real. Yeah. All right, it's up. Like, and that was just it. But it was very difficult to accept, like, no, you are in a position of like ownership.
But what would you tell somebody who's like, for me, for instance, I would be like, oh, this is too much. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to do it no more. Because I got like that. When I first started selling hair, it was overwhelming with, like, the referrals and stuff like that. And then it, like, around Christmas, it got so overwhelming for me because I was, like, and I used to deliver my hair. So it got so overwhelming. Brooklyn, Queens, back to the Bronx. I delivered hair to this girl, and I love her. She is now my friend. I delivered hair to her while I was in labor. And she was like, are you seriously high? I'm like, I'm having contractions right now. Girl, give me a second. And, like, now, like, that's not only my friend, that's still my client.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, I got tired. For somebody like me, like, it's just sometimes I get tired and I'll do this shit later. And then later becomes 6 months. Later becomes a year.
In the beginning,
we had
like,
this conversation yesterday.
You have to make a choice. Is it your profession? Is it your job? Or is it your hobby? You cannot treat your business like a hobby because then you're going to get hobby-like results. So it's like to prevent certain things, like you were feeling burnout because you was just like, let me just get instead of like, all right, I need to figure out a system for my business that's going to make this easier for me. And I've been in situations where I was treating my business like a hobby. That's why shit's ain't here no more. Right. And they didn't work, and you know, for whatever reason. But in learning, like, I can't just like wake up whenever I want. I can't be like, okay, these are my business hours, but today I'm only going to work from this to that. People still want this, that, and the
There's
third.
a place Kim and I went to last year.
Ooh.
You know exactly what I'm
saying.
Somebody has a business. I would be as
not somebody.
Somebody has this business.
It's
and
sad
Kim
that she
drove all the way to y'all know I'm from New York. Kim drove all the way to New York to get a service from this person. The doors was locked. Okay? Told her to come. Doors locked.
Yeah.
Gonna tell us to call somebody else, told them to get the key out the bushes. Got the key out the bushes. We came in, shit is everywhere. Kim went in the bathroom. She said, girl, it's disgusting.
And this was her place of business?
This was her place of business.
And I was buying something.
She was buying something.
And like
then she had somebody come. The girl who she told to open it, she told her to give her the money. It was terrible.
Ratchet. Terrible. Like, I don't know if y'all gonna watch it on TikTok, but I am on Black Hairstylist TikTok. And in Atlanta, Houston, like, they are going off because of, like, unprofessionalism. And I'm not even going to just, like, say, like, it's those places. But just unprofessionalism. Like, the idea of entrepreneurship is way prettier than what goes into actual entrepreneurship. Like,
say it louder.
You have to be there. Like, you are the business. Like, that's it. It is just you doing marketing, social media, customer service, everything. And if you don't have a passion and a heart for what you're doing, or actually an end goal, because some people might be like, I want to build a business up to sell it. All right, to build it up, you got to put the work in. And if you don't have that, if you think you're just about to start a business and say, you know, because I'm a boss and I'm running things, and you're going to be on vacation.
Right.
Shoot.
This goes, and it's so crazy. I feel like all of our conversations lead back to this. Being a boss looks good on social media. Being a boss or saying you're a boss looks good until you have to deal with boss-like things where you know, like, things ain't going to be so good. And I was saying, like, we had this conversation yesterday. We wasn't talking about work. We was talking about actually our health. And she said something like, I had to have a real conversation with myself. Like, you want your life to look like this, but are you doing the things to make your life look like this? So, like, you know, like, I can say, like, am I getting up earlier every day? Am I eating healthy? I want to be healthy. Am I eating healthier? And I'm like, those are real conversations you have to have with yourself. And we said it before, like, am I doing the steps in order to be the person I'm actually asking myself, like, wanting myself to be?
Yeah.
I can't say I want to be a boss and then come in to work whenever I feel like it, or do things and be like half-assing. And like, I have that issue too. Like, I always check myself, like, did you do enough? Did you do enough?
But
like,
you are also really hard on yourself.
Yeah, I am.
That's why you having these panic attacks. And you like really hard on it. And I'll be like, Kim, you did a lot this week. Like, what the? And you don't even see it.
I learned, because I'm literally the same way. It's just like, damn, I could have did X, Y, and Z or whatever. And it's like, no, I had to learn to get organized.
Yeah.
Like, I have to plan out my days. And a lot of my days run off of my to-do list. Because that literally is what guides my mind, as well as allows me to unload everything in my head and put it in some kind of sequence. Because, like, up here, it's just swirling. Like, okay, I know I need to post to social media, and I know I need to do this, and I have to check clients, and I need to, you know, go over invoices, whatever it is. And it's just like, think of all of that just swirling. No, I need to get this down in some type of order so it makes sense and so that I'm productive, not busy.
Right.
Very different.
So when you first started, this is a little more personal, but I know when you first started, you were dealing with a lot of that. Like, you were dealing with a lot, like, I know you were like, your mind was burning out.
Yeah.
So it's like, we had a lot of conversations like that. And at that time, she kind of said what you said, you know, a few episodes ago, like, I'm so busy, like, dating is the last thing on my mind.
Where's the
Take a shot. Right.
That ain't nothing harder than this, though.
No, for real.
How do you feel? Do you feel like the situation you're in, you know, feeling a different, because, like, okay, like, we see now a lot of people be like, well, I'm a good woman because I have, you know, a house, a car, like, the basic fundamental things, like a job, like, you know, like,
where you
like
want to sleep,
you know, I have a job, I have a car, I get money.
Right, you should.
Right.
You should have
a grown woman, you don't have that.
You know, and me and her were having this conversation yesterday, and she was like, you know, I asked somebody, like, you know, what are your requirements in a man? She's like, you know, to have a house, no, to
a car, a job, and his own place to stay.
That's right. That's life.
I said that's like saying, you know, I get up, brush my teeth in the morning, like, duh.
You don't?
That's duh. Like, of course.
What else?
We're talking about requirements. Like, that's not even a conversation topic.
That means
like,
you'll date anybody.
You should have those things. So it's not important for me to be like, well, these are my requirements. No, like,
yeah,
that's regular.
right. So do you feel like now in your dating today, has it, like, are your requirements completely different because you're now different?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
My requirements changed when I turned 20 and got a car. I was not dating men on the bus anymore.
Okay.
It changes. Like,
Okay.
for real. I might have dated somebody who ain't have a car. You know, take a little Uber. No, baby. I got a car now, so now I'm going to up it a little bit.
Right.
So every time you elevate, you up it.
And that
it's
is
not wrong with that.
Literally a conversation we always have. It's just like, and you know, oftentimes we as in women get crucified
for
having standards, and your standards changing and elevating as you change and elevate.
But they also say women, we mature fast.
not the empty.
We mature.
You know what she said before you got here? Oh no, I gotta finish this. I take one more. That shit gonna be a slup, not a cup.
But
She said up.
right. No, but I like, you know, we elevate as we mature faster, women. So yeah, my standards are gonna change, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And it's also like, yes, we do mature faster. I wonder at what age though.
From birth.
Like, it's like, okay, that's not a factor anymore. But it's also one of those things, and Kim and I talk about this often, where it's just like, as a single woman, you start to change things in your life and you become a better person. You start to give yourself more things, open yourself up to more opportunities, and you just start to see things in your life change. you want a partner that is going to match that or help even elevate that, you know? And we're often expected to just take whatever comes our way because it's some attention or just because we're supposed to. And it's like, well, no. And it doesn't make me a bitch or anything like that if I want somebody that matches what I'm doing with my life or can teach me.
Right.
So let me ask you, do you have a, what do I call it? What do I call that list? What do you call that list? The list. I have a what do I call that list?
I don't know.
Well, I don't have a list.
I have a list. Huh? No, not that. I have a deal breaker. Do you have a deal breaker list? I have a deal breaker list.
Do I have yeah.
Is it long?
No.
My deal breaker list used to be so long, and then you know what I noticed about myself though? I stopped following my deal breaker list. And then
You start to like bend the rules. Like,
no,
oh, you know
the rules.
what?
I
Like,
completely.
Like this ain't bad. This ain't that bad.
Yeah, you know what? It's not
so
terrible.
I stopped following my list and I started to attract shit that I hated. So it was
But
just
that'd
like,
be
no,
our
I would
problem.
I would cut shit off. Like I never dated men that smoked.
Okay.
I didn't date men who had kids, but this was when I was a lot younger. I didn't date men with kids. So like if you smoked instantly, that was a no for me. Like there was no more conversation for us to have.
Okay.
Now it's like, oh, you smoke. Oh, it's okay. Oh, you got 2 kids. Oh, no.
If
Gotta go back to
but
it.
see, if those are still deal breakers for you, then those are still your deal breakers.
No, it's not though.
So okay.
So I gotta create a whole new deal breaker
yes,
list.
based off of where you are in your life.
So do you have a list?
Yes and no.
Okay.
And it's not like a strict list that I like oh that nope, oh double nope. Like I'm not like that.
Double nope.
I don't have that. But I do have things. I'm very a very introspective person. Like I spent a lot of time with myself and getting to know myself. So like I can literally like sniff something out in somebody in like 5 minutes.
Well, I never noticed that's why I'm more like that today. But, you know, before the healing, I fell into that being single was almost a punishment. Like, as if there was something wrong with me.
I'm so glad you out of that.
Girl, I loved being
I've
single.
been waiting for you.
Like, you know, like,
Welcome
I feel
home.
like as a lot of women, and I won't even say, you know, now that I did sit with myself and I noticed, like, women as a whole feel like being single, especially when you get at a certain age, being single, not having kids, we feel like we did something wrong. Like, oh, there's something wrong with us because, you know, and then guys will meet you like, well, what are you doing single? Like, I did something wrong. Like, there's something wrong with me. Like, so I feel like how you said, like, spending so much time with yourself, instantly I could tell what I could instantly can tell, like, yeah, no, that's not for me.
So what's not
It's
for
like
you?
What's not for me? I started noticing now, like, it doesn't matter. Okay, we all say, like, oh, you know, he has to have a job or, you know, a lot of people are focused on money, but it's like, can I have a conversation with you?
Hello.
Like, and fuck just a conversation on some, like, what are you doing type shit. Like, can you make me dig deeper? Can I feel safe with you? Feeling safe is, like, one of my large requirements now. Like, I have an issue being vulnerable, and I'm very open to admitting, like, vulnerability is not easy for me. Like, you know,
She's so scared.
like, Shanice was saying it to me the other day, like, why are you so mean? And I told Brittany that. She's like, I don't take you as mean, I take you as unavailable.
What do you mean?
I'm dying.
She's like, no, actually, you're really a bitch.
she's so nice to me. Like, she can't keep her hands off me. She loves me. But the affection that she gives me is so hard for her to give to a man.
Well, I can understand why though. And we had that conversation. And I was like, you know, I was like, I don't feel, since I've known you and since I know other, like, past, you've been in a situation with a man where you feel safe or secure. And it's not an insecurity thing, but it's like, I don't trust you fully with me. And me being like my heart, my vulnerability, those things. I haven't been around for her to be in a situation like that.
I also feel like she's learning herself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So every day that you are learning, like, a new like you're finding a new piece of yourself. You're like,
bro, but we was talking about that like last time. It's like, yo, you think about the times where you didn't know yourself and you didn't find yourself and what you used to deal with and your reactions to things. Like, we was thinking about things. She was like, you know, that she was in a relationship and it was like something so small. And she was like, I was out here ear to ear smiling. She's like, now.
The tree.
I was so happy he took me to the tree.
I got like 100 pictures. All of that. At the tree. At the tree. This was.
You see, I was laughable now. But it wasn't funny then.
We had known each other a decade. We had been kicking it like 8 years. We've been in a relationship probably like 3 years. And I think this was around the time we was about to break up. And he took me to the tree. And I was just so like
smitten over the tree.
My king.
Not at the tree.
My king, my one.
He took me to the tree.
Girl. And
she was out here with the foot up.
Yes, like foot up, head back. And also in that same relationship, I was also driving on curbs through the hood, chasing him with a girl
like,
in his
you
car.
don't even recognize yourself.
Yeah.
Now it's like, Chase.
Chasing him.
Me chase you?
My tire's gonna pop on that curb.
It is 8 a.m. The cops, the school buses, somebody's coming to get me. And I did not care.
You have all been
But
there.
it was just like,
girl.
It was one of those things where it was like, I look back and it was just like, you were so happy with the bare minimum. And I don't even know if that's the bare minimum, but you were so happy with the bare minimum. But look what you were doing to get it. Mm-hmm. I'm chasing you in a car because you got a girl there. But I'm so excited you took me to the tree. Like, what the fuck is going on?
But I get a lot of us. They give us breadcrumbs and we'd be so happy with it. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
We collect the breadcrumbs and try to make bread with it.
Because say it again.
But one might be giving you more crumbs than the next one, and that's where it's just like, okay, I need to sit with me and figure out why am I okay with collecting crumbs. And it gets down to the point of a self-value thing and a self-worth thing, because in that relationship, I didn't recognize myself. Yeah. And it was just like, okay, like, no, we got something, it's not getting better. Something needs to change. I need to figure some things out.
I need to remove myself.
But in figuring things out, I had to sit with myself and have the difficult conversations and ask the awkward questions and have honest answers with myself.
That'd be the thing. You can talk to yourself all day. Are you honestly answering yourself?
You literally
I would say that I am.
Some shit out.
I am. Like, I know. Like, sometimes when I'm dealing with something and it's so fucked up, like, I can go to Kim and tell her, like, girl, this is... But I also know that I've already had prior to coming to you, I've already had the conversation with myself. I've already made peace with the fact that this is not working out, but I might not be listening to myself in that moment, so I'm going to come to you to validate it.
Right.
And even when you validate, I might still have to sit with the fact that, like, damn, like, I'm not really ready to give it up. So it really ultimately comes down to you being ready to be one with yourself. Like, I have conversations with myself all the time about some fucked up shit. And then I'll come to you and you'll just, like, yeah, you're wrong. Yeah. You shouldn't be dealing with that. You too good for this. And a lot of times we know what we too good for.
That.
So, like,
for sure.
I was saying I just had this conversation with my therapist the other day, and she was like, we had the conversation, and I broke it down as, like, you know, I deal with, like I said, I have Kim and I have Gabriella, and I feel like Gabriella's very soft. She's very vulnerable. Like, and I can openly say not a lot of people have gotten close to her. And Kim is like, well, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck. Go ahead. You can keep it pushing type thing. Like, that's how I come off. Meanwhile, in reality, I just want to truly say, like, I'm hurt right now. Like, you're hurting me. But I'm unable to bring myself to that point. And she's like, your heart will tell you something, but it's very soft. You know, you'll be like, you know, you deserve better. Like, you deserve better. She's like, your ego and your trauma is so loud, it makes you feel like what your heart is telling you isn't true. So she's like, trauma will tell you, like, well, he's better than the last one. You know, like, he's better than the last one. Or you still have your issues, so why not deal with this? And, you know, because you got your own issues. So now you stay to accepting breadcrumbs because you feel like what you really feel inside is not validated.
Yeah.
So you validate more of that trauma response of like, well, I guess, you know, like maybe he's not that bad. No, he's that bad.
He's that bad, sis.
He's that bad. Like, and we had this conversation, bro. This shit lives rent free in my head. Every time I think about it, I'm like, yo, I can't even, like, that's real shit. Like, I'm like, you know, he's somebody's dream man. He's just not mine. She's like, do you know how big dreams are?
Bro.
And you stop there?
No, for real, like that. No. Everybody think about it, right? You can dream as big as the heavens. Like, you can dream whatever. Now, you think about your ex. That is someone's dream guy. The dreams are this big, and that is somebody's dream guy.
Like,
bitch, you don't want to explore all the rest that's out here? Like, my nightmare is someone's dream. Mm-hmm. I had to let that sink in.